Boy, you could say that was a rocky beginning or
It's
ending,
li-
depending on
it,
how you look at it.
it's late. It's
It
late.
is late. It is late. Let's try it again one more time, just to start things off smoothly. Good morning, everybody. What's going on? If you're on the East Coast, anyways, it's 12:15 a.m. Eastern Time, just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is Fandom Empire. I'm Sean. That's Mike. And as of a couple hours ago, Mike and I both just finished watching Halloween Ends. I'm going to state right out of the beginning here. This is a full spoiler review, but it's also raw. You know, we haven't had too much time to really think about what we saw on screen. So we will be doing a roundtable review of this movie in the next couple of days. And then Mike and I will also be tackling this movie again at the beginning of the Overlook Drive-In on Tuesday night. But without further ado, man, how was your night? How was your viewing experience before we get into the movie?
So I thought overall my night was good until I left the theater and got stuck in fucking traffic forever. So apologies for running late, everybody. That was on me. I was definitely stuck in traffic, but it cleared up a lot sooner than what was expected. So I'm not gonna complain about that too much. Um, so before I dive into really anything, I will tell you, I'll just say this and then kick it over to you. My theater experience with this movie was probably the best that I could ask for. I saw it in IMAX tonight. The sound was great. The visuals were great. And I had a very respectful and interactive audience amongst me, among myself. So I really appreciated that. So as far as the watch experience and my theater experience, Sean, it was really, really good. How about you?
Sorry if I'm a little loud. I apologize. Trying to work through some sound issues here. We're getting the kinks figured out, people. It's really, really late or early, depending on how you look at it. And by the way, I already see a super chat in there. We're going to take some. We'll be selective over some questions in the chat as the show goes on. But if you do send in a super chat, we will interrupt wherever we are right after the intro and get to your super chats. And if you want to support the channel on like a completely free, you don't need to spend your money level, just click the like button. It will help other people who are awake right now find this stream. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, so first of all, I love IMAX. Like IMAX for me, I know some people say Dolby Cinema, but for me, IMAX is the premium viewing experience for a cinematic release. So I was gun-ho about that. I was sitting in about a 400 seat, maybe even 500 seat IMAX theater, and by the time the movie got actually going, I think there was about 16 of us on opening night in a pretty big city seeing this thing in theaters. And so in terms of like, was there much audience engagement for the people that were in there? Yeah, but it wasn't like it normally is when you go see a movie opening night and people are, you know, thrilled or pissed, or depending on where you fall with this movie. I definitely missed out on that experience. It wasn't there because there just weren't many people there. But in general, the people that were there were respectful, and it was something.
Yeah, I was actually shocked as how many people showed up in the theater that I was in. It was again, it was I would say it was close to about 60 to 65 people. It was a really good amount, or a lot more than I had really expected. A lot more than Kills from what I remember. So again, really, really, that was really good to see. It was cool going out to the theater and seeing everybody in their Halloween mask. And it's funny because right before the movie started, I looked over, and no lie, Sean, I look over and I just see a fucking Michael Myers mask staring at me. Somebody came dressed as the Shape, jump overalls and everything, and had the mask just sitting on his knee. So when I looked over, the mask, Myers was staring me dead in my face. So that was pretty cool to see. I always enjoy stuff like that. That's the stuff that we don't get in a lot of experiences. But when it comes to these horror movies and especially a franchise like this, it's always good to see something like that. So Yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed with the amount of people that did show up.
I think I was the only one wearing a Halloween shirt in the in the movie theater, so let alone a
Okay.
mask or anything.
It was really cool because there was actually a lot of people that actually had Kills merchandise. I'm assuming from Fright Rags, obviously, but it was good to see, man. It was really good to see.
Yeah, and I again, the premium way to see a movie for me personally is in an IMAX theater. So I have no complaints about my IMAX experience whatsoever. Again, it would have been nice if we were seeing it with 200 or 300 other people that were
Yeah.
passionate about the franchise, or maybe it wouldn't have been nice depending on how you look at it. A reminder that this is our full spoiler, well, our raw spoiler review, anyways, of Halloween Ends. So feel free to talk openly about spoilers in the chat. Please enter at your own risk. If you haven't seen the movie, know that it's definitely going to get spoiled for you either by Mike and I or by the chat. And if you haven't seen the movie and you don't mind spoilers, then hang out, have fun, ask questions, enjoy it for what you will. So Mike, I'm going to hand the ball over to you first, dude. Your
To me,
non-spoiler, your non-spoiler thoughts coming out of that movie.
I don't know.
Good
No,
night, everybody. We're out of here.
I'm going to go into more detail, but I wanted to say this. I walked out of the theater. I went with my sister and my cousin. Didn't really say much when we walked out. I was like, I got to piss. I went and took a piss. There's something that happens. Okay, I'll just say it because I was going to say that something happened. I was going to say something happens in the bathroom, but that sounds weird without me explaining. So when I was
not in the movie, but in your experience.
No.
Okay.
So when I left, I went to the bathroom and I was taking a piss, and some dude looked over at me and was like, "Man, they done fucked up a movie that I really, really loved. They know how to drop the fucking ball." And I was just like, okay, I kind of laughed it off. And I was like, yeah, I'm taking a piss. I'm just, but I go to wash my hands and I'm washing my hands and the guy that's washing his hands a couple sinks down, he looks at me and was like, I honestly think that might've been one of the best Halloween movies I've seen in a long time. I'm like, oh, okay. So right there, immediately out of the movie, I'm seeing the divisiveness, right? Immediately out of the movie. So I walk out and my sister's like, so what did you think of the movie? I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I was like, what about you though? Did you like it? And she was like, I don't know. Like, no lie. No, I'm serious. I'm gonna talk about it and tell you overall what I thought. But at that time, I don't know. Like I seriously, I did not know. And we got in the car and we started to talk through some things. Sean, I don't know, man. Like, no, it's no. I'm gonna give something for the people.
Sorry, I had to, man. I had to.
You're fine, man. This is our immediate reaction, so obviously we're gonna have time to sit in on this, but not a fan. I didn't like it.
I would say that's a hot take, but I don't think it is. I think it's the popular take coming out of the movie.
So I want to get your initial reaction, but I want to dive into it because there are some things that I really did like in this movie, a lot more than I thought I would like, which has me thinking even now, talking about it out loud, I don't know, Sean. I don't like, I know that's like not what you want to hear or what the people want to hear, but like, all right, let me ask you. I'm still thinking. Man, I'm going crazy right now. What about you? What were your initial Actually, I saw your initial reaction. I have to say, you look pissed. You look really pissed off. Like Jay looks super happy, and you just look pissed. Like you didn't show him the movie, but you just look pissed. Like you just look you just did not look happy at all. Like I honestly thought that your initial out of the theater review based on your expression on your face was going to be terrible.
So I was silent. Like I just sat in my seat staring at the screen even after the credits had finished. And the people were coming in to clean. And I think they were coming in and they're just kind of like, why is this guy still sitting here? Does he not know the movie's over? And you know, so here's the thing. If you're new to the channel, by the way, and if you haven't yet, please click that like button. Looks like this. Looks kind of like a thumb if you have one. Some people don't. That's okay. Looks like a thumb. Click it. It'll help everybody else find the stream. It'd be greatly appreciated. We do see the super chats coming in. Greatly appreciated. We will get to all of them. If you do super chat, we're answering it. It just might take us some time to get there. Let's get through these opening thoughts here. And before we really dive into the movie, we'll start to answer some and we'll keep doing it. And then even if you can't super chat, we'll be selective with some questions and put them up on screen for sure. But definitely click that like button. Subscribe if you want more Halloween content, because even though a bunch of YouTubers are going to move away from Halloween now that Halloween Ends is over, Phantom Empire is not. Mike and I have a whole slate of things planned for Halloween for this channel. And if you're a geek of the franchise that loves to dive into the movies that were either canceled or were in development and just didn't make it to screen, or even the movies that did make it to screen, we're going to be doing a bunch of behind the scenes videos and diving into what could. And the truth is, actually, there's already ongoing talks about the next installment in the Halloween franchise, as long as everybody understands it's not going to be from Blumhouse. So scratch that one off your bingo card completely. So how did I feel? So I went in knowing, like, Mike, we've known for a very long time what we were getting here, but until you actually have it presented to you in front of you and you're seeing it for the first time to take it all in, all the puzzle pieces put together, you never really know how you're going to feel. And I got like halfway through the movie and I'm thinking to myself, this is pretty good. This is pretty good for a couple of reasons. Didn't mean I didn't have issues. And like, let's be clear, everyone. The second that the credits start and it's the Halloween 3 credits, you should have known that you were in for something different. If you know the franchise, anyways. If you don't, then I don't. I feel bad for those people if they were coming in expecting a Michael Myers movie, which they should have. That's how they marketed the movie. This is what I'll say. I'll say something similar to what I said in the non-spoiler review. Rohan Campbell as Corey arguably puts on the best performance ever given in a Halloween movie in terms of just acting chops. He is amazing. He reminds me of somebody I would see in a Mike Flanagan movie. And that really helped me stay with the movie as we were watching it. The problem is, as good as the acting is in this movie, and look, I'm not a big Jamie Lee Curtis fan, and we're going to be diving into some stuff about Jamie Lee Curtis and some of the shenanigans that were going on set over the next few weeks on the channel. But she's a hell of an actress. You would be stupid to not think that Jamie Lee Curtis is an amazing actress, and she's really damn good in this movie too. So is Andy Matichak, but Rohan Campbell steals the show as Corey. And I know we've had our comment section filled for the last several months when we put out there that some character named Corey was going to be the lead of the movie, and people thought we were nuts and just taking them for a ride. And now that you've seen the movie, I'm sure you guys understand that we weren't bullshitting you. He is the lead of the movie, and they sort of cross over into his story. All that said, man, what happened to Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills? Did they just decide, you know what? I know we made those two movies, but let's forget that they even exist. Let's just start fresh in this final chapter. And as much as I love Corey, why the fuck are we getting a new lead in the final chapter of a trilogy? Can you name one movie ever? Pardon me, I'm going to get a little excited here. I'll try to keep it down. It is 12:30 in the morning. You'll have Jade come in here and Corey me right in front of everybody on camera. Name one fucking movie trilogy you've ever seen in your life. A trilogy where they're like, okay, final chapter, new lead character. I can't think of one. And as great as the performance is, it makes no fucking creative sense whatsoever. It is not a good sequel to Halloween Kills. It is not a good sequel to Halloween 2018. And it is by far and away the most disrespectful movie to Michael Myers. I think of like, I'm a Star Wars fan too, hence the Empire Strikes Back poster. I got my Kills poster over there, like Star Wars and Halloween. I know it's a weird combination, but I try to put myself, and even if you're not a big Star Wars fan, you fucking know who Darth Vader is. You'd have to be living under a rock to not know. And I think of what if they did a Star Wars movie, presented it as a Darth Vader movie, and then shit all over the character. Again, this is why I'm conflicted. There are really good things in this movie, Mike, that I really like, including the acting. Like Corey the performance is amazing. That actor is going to have a chance to go on to do some things. But to handle Michael Myers in the way they did, and to force, by the way, that whole end sequence, if you've seen the movie with the junkyard, all that was added in reshoots. And the people that were saying that they only reshot for 4 days, you're full of shit. They should reshot for way longer than that because they're missing whole subsequences of the movie that are no longer in the movie. I'm conflicted, dude. Like I said, there's a good movie in there somewhere. Just the way it's presented, I don't know if it is one. But I am thrilled, though, to see some people are loving this movie. Now, it's way more people hating it than loving it, but just because Mike and I don't like the movie, and it seems that's the way, at least I'm conflicted. I like parts of it, but hate other parts.
Just say what I said. You don't know. I listen, man. I've been on Twitter since when I was sitting in traffic. I have seen people completely shit on this movie, saying it's the worst movie they've ever seen, that it's the worst movie in all of the Halloween movies. I saw somebody said that they would rather watch the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears play. That's a lie. Come on now. Anyways, and then I saw people put out their rankings already and had this movie in their top 4, their top 5, their top 3. So the decisiveness with this movie is there, right? I mean, we kind of figured that. We knew that it was going to have its following. It's people that really love this movie. I think, Sean, you made some really great points. There is a lot that I do like in this movie. I remember going through the first, I would say I'll break it down into 3 acts. I enjoyed the first act. I enjoyed the third act. It really, really lost me in the middle. Like, it really lost me in the middle, if I had to be honest with you. This is the most different we've ever seen Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. When's the last time you've ever seen her character happy and making jokes that actually stick, that were actually good? Like, the dialogue in this movie, I don't know what they decided to switch up, but it's totally different from the voiceovers that were cringy in the trailer. But the dialogue in this movie was a lot better. I enjoyed the acting in this movie. I think the acting is top notch. So again, I go back to that second act. The middle of the movie is really where it loses me. And again, there are things that I really like in this movie. But Sean, it's hard for me as a Halloween fan who adores the 78 film, who adores Halloween 2 and really enjoyed Halloween 2018, to watch that movie as a Halloween fan, as a Michael Myers fan, and not walk out of there really upset for how disrespectful they treated Michael. I cannot sit there and tell you how weird I felt seeing him come on screen and be very vulnerable and weak, and I hated that. Like, I can't even put into words how that makes me feel as a Halloween fan and as a Michael Myers fan. it honestly made me sick to my stomach, and that's, if I had to pick my biggest problem with this movie, it's that I don't mind that they went out on a limb and swung big for the fences to do something different. I commend them for doing that, and again, like you said, there's a good movie in there, there's a good story in there. And when you really break it down, I think Jade alluded to it, it's a good horror movie, or it's a good non-Halloween movie. But when you break it down and you switch them up and you say, how does this rank? Like, how does this rank as a Halloween movie? For me, it's very low. It's very low. I do not like the way they treated Michael in this movie. A lot of things hit for me that I didn't think were gonna hit. Like, I did not think that I would like Corey. I loved Corey. I really liked his performance. There's
Best
not
part
a
of the movie, in my opinion. Like, and I don't think there's anything close to it.
True. And when I talk about the interactive crowd, like, there are a lot of shock moments in this movie for me, and the theater reacted to those. And one of the biggest ones was the beginning of the movie, the opening, when the kid fell down and just fucking, like, you heard the gasp and the holy shits in the theater. Like, there were some good moments in this movie, and it sucks because they really dropped the ball, in my opinion, when it comes to Michael and just the way that they treated him. There were cheers in the theater at the end when Julian showed up, like, just really cool moments overall. And like, it's just ruined. It's just ruined, in my opinion. I shout out to them for having a definitive ending as far as Michael actually killing one of them off. I know a lot of people had like reservations, were they actually going to, like they always do, say it's going to be the end and leave it really, really, really open-ended. And so again, there are a lot of things that I enjoyed, but it's really hard for me to get into the mindset of getting past the way they treated Michael. And you alluded to this in, I think, one of our last overlook episodes, as far as something just knocking it down a couple points for you. I can sit here and let's just say I say Halloween Ends is a 5 out of 5. Like, I loved everything, the story, like, I loved everything. The way they treated Michael, that would be not a couple points for me. That is knocking it down to like a 1.5, 2. And this is just me being blunt and honest. I just hated the way that they treated him, man. I never thought I would see Michael that vulnerable. Again, I had no problem with the way he went out at the end. That's fine. But seeing a guy like Corey being able to kind of manhandle Michael in that sewer, it was just, I didn't like it.
I want to get to some of the super chats here. You guys are going to dictate where we go with this conversation, and as long as you guys are hanging out in the chat and the chat's staying active, I will at least hang out for as long as I can. Mike and I both work tomorrow. Yeah, I get what you're... So let me just say this right off the top, shameless self-promotion here. Mike and I do a show called The Overlook Drive-In, which airs on this channel Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's a Shining themed movie review and rank show, where it's almost like you pull out your golf scorecard along with us, and we rank the movie together. We've done 2 live episodes. One of them is Halloween 4. The other one is Halloween H2O. This Tuesday is Halloween 2. There's a point to this. I swear I'm not just doing it for shameless self-promotion. I'm glad that we are not scoring Halloween Ends right now, because Mike and I have a system in place. When we do these movies, and we're not just doing Halloween movies, you have to be able to take a movie like Halloween Resurrection, and when you're scoring that, you have to score it under the same measure and components that you would score Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. We're not scoring them just as Halloween movies or horror movies. We're scoring them just as a movie in general. And I'm so conflicted right now with how I feel about that I'm glad we're not doing those scorecards, because I don't, like, for this movie yet, I don't know if I could leave my feelings out of it. I don't know if I could look at it, just for, the technical side of things of what the movie is. But I tend to agree with you. If we scored it right now, I'd be talking points just because of the ridiculous treatment of Michael Myers in this movie. Again, though, we don't want to rain on anybody's parade. If you love this movie, I'm fucking thrilled for you. I envy you. Even I'm still not sure how to feel, because there's so many things I do love about this movie. I So there was some stuff that happened on set that we're not going to get into in this video, but Jamie Lee Curtis was involved. That's had me like really bitter heading into this movie, and she was amazing in this movie. So it was like, oh fuck, like she arguably one of her best performances in a Halloween movie, and it's like, oh, but ooh.
Did
And
you
it's
like?
not-
Did you like seeing her in a different role, like as far as like being positive and actually looking like she had moved on in a sense and actually happy? Like that was refreshing to see because we've never got that side of her. It's always she's, I mean, in 18 and H2O, the trauma is really sticking out there. And in this movie, not saying that the trauma just magically disappeared, but it seemed like she had tried to move on a better life. You know what I mean? It was just weird to see her cracking jokes, and I really enjoyed that.
I did, and you're right. The jokes did hit. They probably hit better than some of the other jokes that are in the other movies. She's got this down to an art form. She's really good at what she does, and she was good in this movie. I don't think she was as good as Rohan Campbell. I think Rohan Campbell stole the show. Again, like I need time to sit with it, but coming out of that movie, I'm like, that might have been the best performance I've seen in a Halloween movie. And yet the treatment of Michael Myers is, for me, unforgivable. And you know what? I'm gonna rant here. A quick little rant about Blumhouse and Universal. And I hope the audience is on my side, but if they're not, hey, you're entitled to your own opinion. And this should stand whether you love the movie, you're in the middle, or you hate it. This movie was marketed as Laurie versus Michael. This movie was marketed as a Michael Myers movie. It's not that. People go on all the time about, oh, they bait and switch, and rarely is it ever a bait and switch. This fucking movie is the definition of a bait and switch in Hollywood. It is absolutely 100% factually a bait and switch in terms of the marketing. But they get to be let off because the synopsis for the movie is a little more candid than their trailers are. But to me, the marketing for the movie, man, extremely disingenuous to the fan base. I don't know if you were on the same page with me in terms of that, but and I'm not talking about the slip of the hand in the trailer because, like, we all know that wasn't even supposed to be in it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that, dude. No argument from me.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, like, I don't know, man. My mind is still racing. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm sure they knew they would get this kind of reaction out of people when they did this. So, man, I don't know. Like, I'm seeing, it's just crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a movie this decisive, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know, dude. It's
going to be an extremely divisive movie. And I seen there's already YouTubers out there. I was listening to one today. I couldn't even get through 3 minutes of the video because he came out and basically spoke for the entire fan base and said this is not the most divisive movie in Halloween. And maybe it's not, but one person doesn't get to fucking decide that. The fandom decides if it's going to be the most divisive movie in the fandom. Like Mike and I might think it's divisive, but if 90% of the fans don't like it, or 90% of the fans loved it, that's how you decide if something's divisive or not. One person doesn't get to decide that. Let's dive into the chat, man. Here, there's a bunch of them to get to, and then we'll continue to give our thoughts.
Appreciate everybody tuning in as well, man. Appreciate y'all staying up late and being interactive. It's really good to see.
There's 150 people in here right now watching this live stream. What we'll do, by the way, it's like almost 1 a.m. here on the East Coast, which means it's almost 10 over on the West Coast. Mike is such a good guy that he will write you away from work slip for tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to Fandom Empire. And click that like button. It really does help us out. It'd be greatly appreciated. It takes 2 seconds to click the button that looks like that. Let's get to the first one here, assuming that I can find it. Apologies. There's a lot to sift through. All right, Michael. Now that David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy is over, in hindsight, a comedy director and a comedy writer should never make a horror movie. Thoughts, Mike?
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I really like 2018. I enjoyed Kills, and as of right now, I'm very in the middle. I don't know. I'm at a I don't know level right now for Ends, and that's probably going on the negative side if I had to be honest with you. So let's just say I really decided that Ends is just dog shit. I would say 2 out of 3 movies. I would take that. It's really hard to make 3 really good movies in a row, in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like Kills, but so for me personally, I kind of have to disagree with that. And I don't agree with everything DGG has done by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't agree with that take, only because I enjoyed the previous 2 movies, especially 2018.
Yeah, I think when whether it's a comedy director or another genre director, I think when they switch up what they're used to, it can hit sometimes. Like I like 2018. I think 2018 critically anyway, it was received very well. I like a lot of Halloween Kills. There's stuff in Halloween Kills that I scratch my head over to this day. So I don't know if I can agree with the take, but knowing how this movie landed or crash landed, depending on how you want to look at it, I don't blame someone for having that take, because I'm sure if you're a massive fan of The Exorcist right now, you're sitting there going like this. And we say that because David Gordon Green's lined up to do The Exorcist. He's also lined up to do another version of the Hellraiser, which if you're a fan of that franchise, probably doing this as well.
I don't know about that. No offense to the Hellraiser movies, but there's not a lot you can fuck up.
I haven't seen the new one. I've heard good things about the new one, but I guess people are complaining about it's too long and it's too slow. Some horror movies,
yeah,
could be slow.
It's pretty long. I definitely think they should cut it, but I had no problem with it. Like I definitely didn't think it was a bad movie by any of the stretch of imagination. Very, very good cinematography in that movie.
I definitely can't wait to dive into it. I haven't had a chance yet, but I get Michael's frustration, and I totally get why he would have reservations over that. Really appreciate the super chat, Mike. Intel Wild sends in a $15 super chat. I'm getting shit show vibes already, but I'll be there on Friday. He sent that, I believe, as we were still in the intro phase of the show, and I mean like the our Halloween 3. By the way, if you're just joining now, this is the intro we opened with. It's only 10 seconds long, but it's very fitting for this movie. I kind of just think they should have just used the Halloween 3 theme at this point for this movie. I mean, they used the fucking font, dude. Which was I understood the choice, but at the same time, it didn't really make a ton of sense to me.
I didn't really like it, to be honest with you.
I'm someone that likes Halloween 3, by the way. I know I'm in the minority there, but I think Season of the Witch is one of the better Halloween films. But you don't, like, if you're going to make a Halloween 3 film, go make a Halloween 3 film. Go make a Season of the Witch film. Don't use a Michael Myers film to do that. It makes very little sense. Ridge says, as a lifelong Halloween fan, the disrespect of the character Michael hurts my heart. What the fuck? Good horror movie, bad Halloween movie. Great channel, by the way. Well, thanks, man. That's greatly appreciated. I know some people that would disagree with you, but on the last part anyway. But we try to put out the best content we can here, and we really appreciate the support. I think I feel very similar to Ridge, man. Although Zach, who hosts our Game of Thrones show on the channel, House of the Empire, sent me a message that I've been thinking about since he sent me this message, man. I want to relay it to you in the audience to, if you've seen the movie, really think about this for a second. Is this movie even a horror movie, or is it more of a drama? And I got thinking about it, and like, yeah, there's some kills, and yeah, there's a little bit of gore, but in terms of what the the big basis of this movie contains and the story that's laid out and how it's executed, I would say, our colleague Zach has a point. I do think this movie comes across more like a drama than it does a horror movie.
I think you could say it created its own new genre as a drama horror movie. We've never really heard of that. It's crazy, man. I feel like a lot of people can't ever really win. With I don't know, like kills. A lot of people complained all Michael did was go around just killing people, and there was no really storyline behind it. The dialogue sucked. I agree that the dialogue sucked, but they complained that there was too much killing, no storyline, kind of boring. Well, this movie, we get a big storyline, big character development, big character focus driven, and little Michael, little killing. And a lot of people are saying we didn't get enough Michael and enough killing. And I would agree with that. So it's just like, where is the middle ground here? And I would say a good middle ground is 18. And I would say 18 is still I would say far and along better movie of the three. Because you get everything, in my opinion. But yeah, I understand where he's coming from. But I agree with Ridge. Appreciate the kind words as far as the channel. We really appreciate that. But yeah, that's my biggest problem with this movie is the disrespect from Michael, and I don't see that changing. I see that getting more frustrated over that.
By the way, there was four different endings for this movie.
I was going to ask you, and I'm really interested to know. I wish I would have thought about this before we went live. Do you think there's different endings with Peacock in the theater, or you think that was just something people kind of ran into?
I haven't seen Peacock, but I'm assuming, and we don't have it in Canada, to be clear.
Okay.
But it's 1 a.m. now, and I think that would be all over the place.
Okay.
I know that rumor's been out for a month. I asked about it, and what we were told is there was no truth to it. But you never know with these things, right? Like there's a whole Glass Hill portion of the movie that's cut out, which is frustrating. I mean, it's only about 7 minutes long or so, but you're missing a massive chunk of that movie with that. So a pretty important one too. And when it comes to characters' backgrounds and where Corey went for a bit, which they don't really talk about in this movie. So that's what reshoots do, though.
Yeah, Nick Armour and Chad Miller are saying same ending on Peacock. Appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. We're going to talk about two of those three other endings, though, towards the end of this stream. So if you stick around long enough, you'll get an idea on what the other endings are. And I believe you might see one on the physical media release. Not sure about it, though. Anthony says, for the love of God, could somebody get Michael some sports tape and Advil? Oh man, that requires me to hit the vape, I think. Do you think they went I mean, I know they wanted a definitive ending, but didn't it seem a little bit like overkill, man?
No, not really, if I'm being honest with you. And I'll say that for a couple reasons. But let me start off by saying, I don't know. So just seeing, I don't know, man. I can't get over seeing Michael weak and stumbling all over the place in the sewer. That was just so bad to see. But what's crazy is I see a lot of memes and a lot of things that are posted on the internet that are like, damn, another Halloween movie. Why don't they just chop Michael's fucking head off? Which, they did in H2O, but you know how that plays out, not Michael's head. So how can you kill Michael? You can't stab him in the back of the neck or in the spine. He'll get up and, do whatever. Because every time he kills, he transcends. But then again, he's weak in this movie. Anyways, 2, you can't shoot him, obviously. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, I understand probably they went overboard with the slit of the neck and then the slit of the wrist. But after, I guess, what this whole town has been through, do what you got to do. Like, I honestly, I don't really have a problem with that.
So let me play devil's advocate with you. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to like paint serial killers out to be heroes, but we all know when we go to watch these movies and you're watching Nightmare, or you're watching Halloween, or you're watching Friday, you know, there's a part of you that wants to see Michael or Freddy or Jason or even
Oh,
Ghostface or Leatherface or Chucky kick some ass. That's part of the reason you go to watch these movies. But they made a point of like, this movie makes you sympathetic for Corey and what he went through and how he became that almost. Um, that's the way the movie's laid out. So if we're supposed to be sympathetic to the kid who, well, not even a kid, a 21-year-old, 23 during the current timeline, 21 at the beginning of the movie. We're sympathetic to him because we see the shit that he's going through because, you know, hate to say it, but some of humanity is shit. That's just the way it works. I can't help and sit here and go, okay, so you're pushing that narrative, and even Laurie at the end just says he got consumed by evil. You know, she's not completely forgiving him, but she's also like, hey, you know, this wasn't really his doing. What do you want, Michael Myers? What about the 60-year-old kid that this happened to? And you would have to assume the picture they paint in this movie suggests that Michael went through something similar. And at 6 years old, I understand why Michael Myers wouldn't have been able to talk about it or convey his feelings or thoughts the way Corey was with Allison. And I mean, 44 years of terror, you know, I get it. But at the same time, the principle's still the principle. And Michael Myers didn't get that way on his own. So I'm very conflicted in terms of that message that they're trying to send. But I guess, you know, once you kill 100 people, maybe forgiveness is out the window. Not that I was asking for forgiveness, because that's a bit much.
I get that. I think I would like this movie even more. One, if they didn't show Michael as weak as he was, and two, if Michael was just more involved in the movie. Period. Like that's my biggest issue. Again, I'm going to keep harping on it. Seeing Michael really weak and just not having enough of Michael in this movie. Like, I'm sorry, you just didn't. No matter if you wanted to go with this story and this narrative, that's fine. We've alluded to that there's a good movie in here somewhere. And if you fix my biggest problems, which is making Michael look weak and not having him in this movie enough, do everything else that you want to. But why not have Michael out there along with Corey? I don't know. And I don't like the whole Corey taking of the mask and all of that. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Although I didn't hate those scenes, I enjoyed a lot of the kills that were in this movie. A little bit more gruesome than I thought. I thought they were going to dial that back just a little bit, but cutting the tongue off, I mean, that was pretty wild. that was pretty wild.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were supposed to laugh, but I was laughing as it was spinning around the record player there. Like, Jade and I just started bursting out laughing.
But like my theater was packed, so when a lot of the kills happened, you heard a lot of oohs and haws in the theaters. Like, so I don't know. There were points in this movie that really hit with the audience, but again, there were a lot of things that didn't as well, and a lot of that had to do with Michael just really not being in this film.
Yeah, you know, I want to get through this. I know people have been super chatting and continue to super chat. Trust me, it's very generous and it's appreciated. I want to keep going through them, but I do want to bring something up to you in a bit here, Mike, about Michael and the path that specifically Michael Myers takes in this movie, and why I think it's a shot at Michael and Michael, maybe not Michael fans, but I understand why fans are not receiving the Michael Myers portion of this movie well at all. David Cummins says, come on, this is terrible. 2018's 9 out of 10. This is a 1 out of 10. David, I'm not saying I disagree with you, man. As a Halloween movie, like just as a Halloween movie, this movie does not work for me. For those that it works for, fantastic. I'm happy for you. But for me, it doesn't work as a Halloween movie. It doesn't work as a sequel for Halloween Kills or Halloween 2018. And it sure as hell doesn't work as a Michael Myers movie. Again, that's just my opinion. Do you think he's being a little over the top with 1 out of 10, Mike, or is it that jarring that it's not surprising some people are coming out saying that?
Man, I would agree with him. I went into. I mean, I went into this movie as a Halloween fan. A lot of people are going to see this as Michael Myers fans, as Halloween fans. So, yes, I understand why the 1 out of 10 would be there, and I'm with you. I don't disagree. But as a standalone horror movie, I would have to bump it up a little bit in score. But again, that's hard for me to do because I am a Michael guy, and I really hate the way that they treated him in this movie. So I don't see my overall score being good. Like after every movie, when I'm in the theater, Sean, you alluded to this, the cleaning crew coming in and you being in there. Usually, I'm the last person in there because I'm on Letterboxd putting in my review. But I didn't know what to write. I didn't know, and I still don't know. But I can tell you
something out, and I didn't. I just I sat there, literally, I sat there like this,
yeah.
and they won't start cleaning either while you're still sitting there. They're standing down there just looking at me, and I'm seeing them out of my peripheral vision, and Jay's just like, we gotta go. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah. And just I see Wayne Gaki in the comments. He said, but this isn't a standalone horror movie. And you're right. You have, again, looking at it as that, no arguments, man. And I don't know. You're not going to get a lot of arguments out of me, honestly, either way, because again, you alluded to it, Sean. If you enjoyed this, if this movie worked for you, I absolutely love that for you. Like, there's nothing more that I wanted than everybody to love this movie. I didn't. So,
tipping my hat here a bit in terms of upcoming content we have coming at the channel, but let's just say there's a very good reason why Malaka Cad said, yeah, I'm not being a part of the promotion of this movie. And by the way, I'm also not going to the world premiere. There's some very nasty shit going on behind the scenes right now. And it's why Blumhouse went from, yeah, we'll make a bunch more. I want to make a bunch more to, no, this is it for us. And it's creative differences. And it always seems to happen with this franchise. And at the end of the day, that kind of falls on Malaka Cad's foot and or doorstep. But at the same time, as soon as Ryan Freeman came out and talked about how pissed he was about the Peacock decision and creative losses, you knew there was issues because Ryan Freeman works for Malaka Cad. Ryan Freeman doesn't work for Blumhouse or Universal. He's a Malaka Cad guy. So a Trankus guy, if you will. But we'll dive into more of that nitty-gritty stuff in future streams. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we have a exclusive Halloween show over on our Patreon. It is called Lampkin Lane. Each and every month, we do 1 to 2 new Lampkin Lane episodes featuring just reports and rumors on upcoming Halloween content. And not from us, I'm talking about the franchise in general. Sometimes we have some scoops. Most of the time we're right with those. Sometimes we're wrong. It happens. But Lampkin Lanes over on our Patreon, and you can sign up today at patreon.com/fandom empire. And Mike and I just decided tonight, actually, that if you're a fan of the Overlook Drive-In, which again, we have Halloween 4 and Halloween H2O episodes up there currently, we haven't introduced the tier yet, so the information isn't up there yet, but we're going to do one just for Patreon episode a month at the Overlook Drive-In. It'll be a little shorter. There'll be no news segment at the beginning. It'll just be the scorecard and our breakdown of a movie, but we wanted to offer the patrons that support this channel and keep the lights on around here some more exclusive content, and that's our way of doing that. All right. Matthew said, before I get to the super chat, Upon the Ventura, who's a longtime listener of the channel and a big fan of the Overlook, Mike says he's stunned that you didn't like this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but he's stunned.
That was in the comments?
It was in the comments, yeah. I think he said, I'm shocked that Mike didn't like this movie. So, Matthew says, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'll say this. It's hard because of the Michael Myers shit that goes down in it, or doesn't go down in it, depending on how you look at it. I did walk out of the movie theater going, I did enjoy this movie more than I thought I was going to, but I still don't know if that's saying much.
Agreed.
I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would. Still not great, and not what they should have done right there. You nailed it. Hit the nail on the head, man. I appreciate the boldness, but there are way too many missed opportunities, and the ending was weak. I'll go one further. I found the ending to be fucking cringeworthy. The reshoots, going back to the scrapyard, the funeral procession. I was not a fan. Not a fan of that at all. Mike, did you have any thoughts on the whole funeral procession thing? I know
Personally,
you like the last 20 minutes. I actually
Yeah.
hated the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It might be my least favorite part of the movie.
I didn't mind it, honestly. It fell off with me in the middle, which is crazy because I mentioned that I don't like the way Michael looks weak, Sean, in this movie. And we technically don't really get a good glimpse of Michael until pretty much that second act, really, the really start of the second act, in my opinion, but which is crazy.
Intel One says, smash that like button, everybody. It looks like this. Yes, it's this one, the thumb, not the middle one, the thumb. I want everybody to get pissed with the middle one. So let me point this out to you, Mike. I've seen a lot of people being like, yeah, the movie's not very good, but that end battle. In fact, I've seen Christian Harloff, who used to do the movie trivia Schmodown, pardon me. His out of the theater reaction is literally of just 90 seconds of him and his buddy Brett going, yeah, so the end battle was good. I'm not kidding, on repeat. That's the review for 90 seconds. And we knew what the end battle was at the channel, but until you see it and get to experience it, you don't really know. And I got to tell you, man, I'm not seeing what everybody else is seeing with the end battle. It takes place over the span of 2 fucking minutes in terms of before he's actually on the counter there. It happens in one room. There's no hunting. There's a whole house you could have fucking went through. And instead, the whole thing takes place in the kitchen. And I felt like this is the point I was going to make. I was going to save till later, but they present the movie as, oh, hey, Michael's killing, kind of like that cringe line from Kills, the more he kills, the more he transcends. But they kind of show that on display in this movie. So you mean to tell me the guy who got shot and beat to shit by a mob, shot multiple times and beat to shit by a mob, who then decided, I'm going to get up and kill every one of these mother canuckers, then went and sat in a sewer. And Michael was killing during this time, by the way. It doesn't tell you in this movie, but you pass a billboard in this movie, and he's been killing people occasionally just to stay alive. I think he's been eating them. That's the implication we're supposed to get. But the nitty gritty stuff was taken out of the movie. So you go on this journey, abbreviated journey of Michael getting back into form, if you will, just to have him quite literally job to Laurie Strode in the kitchen. I don't get it. It felt like they were giving Michael Myers the middle finger. I'm sure that's not the intent, but it's how it came across to me.
I see a little differently than you. I personally didn't mind that. But I will say this. I just don't see the hype for the battle. I enjoyed the 2018 battle 10 times better, personally.
There's suspense. Everybody that was saying there's no suspense in 2018.
True. I mean,
there's no suspense in this end battle. 18, you actually had Michael hunting for her.
So me personally, I think me and Sean disagree on the way Michael was taken out, and that's totally fine. But we agree on.
No, Mike, fuck you. That's not.
It's just, I was just expecting a lot more. Like, I don't know. Not only Michael. It's, for me, as a Jamie Lee Curtis fan, I thought it was a discredit to Laurie Strode, even though she's finished out on top. Like, that's just a weak battle between those two. Why not? I don't know. Why not take advantage of that and make it 2 minutes is way too short for the big showdown finale. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just
2 minutes too before he's laying there on the counter. It's 2 minutes. if that.
So it's very interesting to go back and see actually how long Michael Myers is on screen in this movie.
Oh, dude.
Less than 10 minutes. And I would say most of that is probably when he's on top of the car.
I was going to say, if you take away the corpse on top of the car, he's in it for less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, man.
And that's not an exaggeration for those of you that haven't seen the film but are still watching the spoiler review. He's legitimately in it for less than 5 minutes. I'm not talking about the few times they flash back to 78 and recapture some of that footage. I'm talking current timeline. No footage from previous movies. He's in it for less than 5 minutes.
Let me ask you this. Did you like the flashbacks? I had no problem with them. I actually really enjoyed them. But that's just probably my fan service showing.
They were okay, but I liked the fact that Kills went back and did something new with a flashback.
Agreed. Oh, I would definitely agree with that. But it was, I don't know. It was just weird.
David Cummings, you said this one earlier. I rather watch Washington-Chicago 12-7 football game than this trash. Let down as a Halloween fan. I went in with an open mind and it was terrible. Well, if you went in with an open mind and it was terrible, I don't think the franchise can ask any more of you. I went in. I had a longtime supporter of this channel reach out to me today and ask me how I was feeling heading into the movie. And I said, I think I'm going to walk out of this movie and hate it. Like, I know what all the pieces are. I know how they get put together. I just haven't seen it get put together. And I ended up walking out liking it more than I thought I would. But again, also, like, it was this weird feeling of, hey,
it is
something incredible with this Corey character. And the acting was fantastic. And I by the way, the sound design in the movie, especially if you were seeing it in IMAX, is phenomenal. When Jeremy fucking hits the floor, you hear the thud and the bones crush, and it's just this uneasy feeling. That's because a little shithead kid, but a kid.
Do you remember I wanted to bring this up too. I just thought about this. Do you remember when we were reviewing, I think, the final trailer or a final TV spot where it showed Laurie looking out into the street and nobody was there, and then in the movie they had Corey there. I guess in the trailer they just blanked him out.
Yeah,
I was wondering why in the trailer she was just looking out and looking at fucking the street, like looking at nothing there.
So, before we get to more super chats, because there are quite a few more, it looks like. Before we get too far into this, dude, I have to ask you. Did you think when Michael grabs Corey? Thanks, Intel Wild says, we love Fandom Empire. Only when Tommy B's not on. No, I'm kidding. We love Tommy. Did you think that was them, especially with, like, because it flashes back, that was them trying to say the essence of Michael, or at least part of it was passing into Corey?
That's kind of what it seemed like to me. Especially, like, I don't get the whole. There were times where Corey kept looking at his hand. Like I'm still all this is still running through my mind. Like, you know, why he kept doing that. Was Corey killing more and more to not only get stronger as well? Like, I entirely don't know, man. I don't know where they were going with that. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. That's what it comes across as. I mean, what else would it come across? Like, I don't know what they were doing, unless they were doing something kind of like Michael was envisioning and seeing everything that, you know, he was going. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. It was either that. I don't know. I say you only go either two ways. You either go that way, or you go when Michael was choking him. He's seeing everything that Corey has been dealing with, and I don't want to say. I don't want to say he felt sorry for him, because that makes obviously Michael look weak. But maybe Michael saw himself a little bit in Corey. I don't know.
So I'm going to peel back the curtain here and tell you guys what one of the other endings are. And I think that this is the ending that you might see on the physical media release. I don't know for sure. We've been trying to find that out, but I think it is. So in that moment, Michael's essence does pass through to Corey, but that doesn't mean that Michael loses his essence. Michael's still very much there. And the reason why you know this is because at the end of the movie, there's no junkyard scene. In this version, Michael still does die. Slightly different though. And again, no junkyard scene. But Michael is able to pass his essence from himself into Laurie. And the movie ends with Laurie basically moving away to somewhere secluded and locks herself away from everybody in order to try to contain the essence and not let it out to anybody else, which I thought would have been a much better. I know. So our main source we use here at the channel, and this was one of the endings that was in the test screening too, by the way. So like it does exist. This is us just throwing shit out there. Said that he hated that ending and prefers this one. I disagree with him. I would have preferred the, okay, so you made it clear that something passed through to Corey, and then something ends up passing through to Laurie in that version, and Laurie locks herself away. There's something more, dare I say, Mike Flanagan about that ending than what we got with the definitive one. And maybe that's why they didn't want to do it, is they didn't think that that would be a good ending for Jamie Lee Curtis. But for the movie and the story that they were telling, it would have made way more sense, because now the Corey thing's just a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I agree. I really have, no debugs on that or anything else.
Would you prefer that ending or this ending?
Probably this one.
Nick Armour says how they killed Myers was easy compared to everything he had already been through. It seemed lazy. What are your thoughts on why they went this route? Go ahead, Mike.
I would agree with you, but what other way, besides locking him in a room and literally blowing up the room, what other way can you definitively kill Michael Myers that he hasn't already gone through?
Really decapitated him.
That is true. I mean, you could do that.
The mask was off while he was laying there. You could have decapitated him and called it a day.
That is very true.
But I think Nick's point's valid. He gets shot several times, beat to shit by dozens of people in Halloween Kills, and still gets up and says, "Hold my beer," and kills them all.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. And to that point, he does all of that, right? But then the first time we see him in Ends, and throughout the entire movie, he's just weak. Weak from what? Being beat to shit? That's fine.
Bad chicken at Walmart.
But he literally got up and just fucking manhandled everybody, and all of a sudden he's weak now.
Yeah,
that's really weird to me. Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato score as far as critics right now is sitting at a 45%. Audience score is at a 63%.
I'm betting both of those continue to go down.
Agreed.
This will not be fresh. It'll be rotten, and that's why, while it's going to be divisive, it looks that way. But to me, like, it's not like it's going to be, 30% love it, 30% are in the middle, 30% hate it. I think you're going to have like 5 to 10% of people that love it, another 10 or 20 that aren't sure, and then the rest hate it. And that seems to be where it's trending right now. In terms of why it went this route, I think I tipped my hat a little bit in terms of that. I can't dive into it all in this video. Or this live stream, but massive behind the set issues, or behind the scenes issues, on set issues, creative differences. You got to remember, you got to have Malek Cad, Ryan Freeman, the Blumhouse team, the Universal team, the Rough House Pictures team. Just too many chefs in the kitchen. You weren't going to keep everybody happy. But I do wonder how they're sitting there and then they go, okay, so this is the route we're going. It's puzzling. Even you can be the most positive about this movie, and I would say that there's not a whole lot of proof in the movie that says it's a follow-up to the previous two that makes any sort of sense, Mike.
Yeah.
Intel says he loves Sean's rants. My fiance disagrees. Outside of Corey and Lori, man, who was your favorite character in the movie?
Okay. I want to talk about this because I've seen a lot of comments in the
David,
comment
I'll
section.
come back to you. Actually, we'll just leave it up on screen. Go ahead.
For me, obviously, those are the ones that really stand out. But the next one, I would have to go with Andy Matichek, man. I would have to go with her. It's different from what we've seen in the past two movies, right? Completely different, and rightfully so, right? She's totally different. But I just saw a lot of comments saying that they slutted her out in this movie and like made as a whore. I don't see it that way. I see her as one, being very alone. Two, after everything that she's been through, obviously she's alone. Obviously she's not getting along with her grandmother, and really the only person close to her that is still alive. And she finally finds somebody who, one, likes her for her, you know, really has a connection with. That person is going to gravitate to, you know, to that person. And we saw her like him for his flaws. And a lot of that had to do with everything that she had been through, again, feeling super lonely. And it was just a different view. It was just a different take on her character as far as Allison. And I liked it.
I don't get the slut comments like at all. This is someone who's been through.
Can she not like somebody?
Oh, not to mention like the massive amount of, I'm going to say Jamie Lee Curtis's favorite word here, trauma that she's been through. I don't know why anybody would expect her to be any different. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Somebody said in the comments, demand W, no woman is that aggressive when meeting a guy. I don't buy it. I beg to differ, my friend. I beg to differ.
Let me tell you, you haven't met my mother-in-law.
Oh man, Sean, where's the? I wish I had the buttons.
I can't give myself the button. That's just conceited.
No, you deserve it on that one.
By the way, again, and we're going to keep hammering away at this. There's 200 people watching basically right now. Click that like button, everybody. It helps other people find the stream. It helps other people find the stream once it becomes a video afterwards. It's absolutely free to do, and all you got to do is click a button, and you help us out a bunch. So if you want to click that like button, it'd be appreciated. And again, if you want to support the channel on another level, you can just click subscribe, hang out with us, join in on the fun. And as you see at the bottom of the page here, we are on patreon.com/fandomempire, but follow us on social media too. We have a Twitter account. We don't just talk Halloween, we talk horror, we talk Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Supernatural, anything you can think of, we cover here on the channel. But Halloween is a big part of our channel and will continue to be probably the biggest part of our channel moving forward as well. David says this movie was so bad, people going to be asking their $4.99 for Peacock back. Okay, David gets horns. David gets horns for that one. Which, by the way, I'm sure the chat's already been talking about this. And by the way, I hope everybody's being as respectful as they can in the chat. Usually we have 3 or 4 chat mods here. There's none of them here tonight because of how late it is. It's almost 1:30 in the morning. Just have fun in the chat. Feel free to converse with one another, but keep it respectful. Eagle suck, Mike. Wait, what? Sorry. Anyway, 5, but hey, it's better than my team. It's on Peacock, man. After all the media outlets are like, okay, so the exclusive opening day or the early screenings for Thursdays will be Thursday will be in theaters and then Peacock on the Friday. Everywhere was saying that, and then they just decide, we'll throw it out there anyways. They have screamed no confidence about this movie on the Peacock decision at all, because there's no reason to do it now. And then to move up the Peacock release even more, and then for it to be no 14-day window, but to be day and date with the theatrical release, and then the embargo 2 hours before the movie comes out. A bad embargo period's usually if you can't review it till 24 to 48 hours before the movie. A lot of movies are a week or two before if there's confidence in it. This was 2 hours before. The warning signs were everywhere. Isaiah says, I loved this movie, but I need a longer showdown, and there's so many deleted scenes that needed to be there. Hopefully we'll see those scenes. Well, there's still a significant amount of deleted scenes from 2018 and Halloween Kills that we have not gotten our hands on. So it depends how generous they want to be with those. But I'm telling you, I'm talking over half an hour of missing footage from this movie. Remember that there's about 15 minutes of reshoots in this movie. So really, it would only make the movie about 15 minutes longer than what it was. I think this came in at 151. And the first set of test screenings were like 208. So like right there, that's 17 minutes gone. That's a lot to cut out of a movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Apologies, guys. 1 second. All right. Where were we here? Nick says, what occurred? Reference to Sean's comments from a few week ago is between let me try that again in English. Okay, apologies, it's getting late. What occurred? Reference to Sean's comments from a few weeks ago between the producers, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Blumhouse that caused a separation in relationship. Well, a lot occurred. I don't know how much of it I want to get into on this particular stream. We are going to talk about it. But I'll say this. When Malaka Cad signed off on production for this movie, and I'm not saying I'm best friends with Malaka Cad, so all this should be taken with a grain of salt and rumor, but just remember that we have a pretty good track record of the channel, I think. This was not the movie he signed off on. Plain and simple, this was not the movie he signed off on. And some might say, well, why did he just come out and stop it? Or why didn't he why didn't he say anything? Why didn't he throw it under the bus? Because it doesn't do him any good to throw it under the bus. It hurts his franchise even more if he throws it under the bus publicly. So yeah, that's a sneak peek into it, but there are other issues, and needless to say, I'm pretty confident you will not see Blumhouse, Jamie Lee Curtis, and other parties involved in another Halloween movie. Eddie says, just saw it. I'm torn. I appreciate being original and not more of the same, yet poor marketing. I agree. It's lose. If you think outside the box, we want Michael, give them more Michael, same old crap. Yeah, you're not wrong. It would be more of the same old crap. And if there's anything I can give this movie, Mike, is whether it landed or not, it was different.
No, it was definitely different. And I do give them credit for going big and going, kind of swinging for the fences. Again, I don't know if that should have been for the final movie, especially like we alluded to, bringing in a new main character for the final movie. Maybe it would have been better if Corey was introduced in Kills at least, or 2008, introduced in 2018, and then kind of grown from there. But I don't know, man. It's just again, it all depends on how you look at this movie. Again, as a standalone movie, my score is a little higher, but as a Halloween movie, which in my opinion, as far as outside of the Overlook, I'm basing it on a Halloween movie because that's what I expect it to be. That's what I want it to be. And it's not it for me. So
yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, man. Kratos says Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a better Halloween film than Ends, in his opinion. I think it's too early for me to talk about that. I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a pretty abysmal movie. However, I've said ad nauseum on this channel, I get some twisted enjoyment out of watching that movie, and more specifically, Malcolm McDowell's performance in it. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know. I can't comment on that. Might be a better Halloween movie, but I'll stand by. It's not a better made movie. Did you have a favorite kill in this, Mike? Is there one that stood out more than the others? I know I put you on the spot. My bad, dude.
No, you're good. The one that sticks out to me is the tongue one, but that sucks. I was gonna say it's not Michael's kill, but Michael doesn't have a lot of kills in this movie, so I would have to go with that. Honestly, when we do our roundtable for the take one, or even before that, when we do Tuesday's show, if we talk about our kills, it'll probably be different once. But for some reason, that's the one that stands out to me right now. I'm not gonna say that was the best one, but it's the one that sticks out for sure.
I agree. That whole sequence though, that Corey sequence where he's standing there and he puts the mask on, like I was sort of like going, yeah, fuck those kids, they deserve it.
No, they definitely they definitely deserved it. I saw somebody said the blowtorch kill was a little too much. That was actually pretty good in my opinion. There's not a kill.
Show more of that to be
true. There's really not a kill in this movie that I didn't like. I think I alluded to that I enjoyed the kills overall, but as far as being my favorite, I'm not quite sure yet. I will tell you though, Corey did honestly I thought Corey might have been James Jude Courtney when the whole DJ scene took place. He did a really, really good job. If that is Corey behind the mask, I honestly probably doubt it. But it comes off as definitely James Jude. Even when like he walked past the window, I know this might sound weird, but as Halloween fans, we know how Michael walks, or we know how James Jude Courtney walks, and it literally felt like James Jude Courtney in that quick, past the window, and even banging the DJ's head on it seemed like James Jude Courtney to me.
It certainly felt that way. My one, devil's advocate point here would be he looked too skinny and small in stature to be James Jude Courtney. He kind of looked closer to how Nick Castle did in the original.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Matt says Michael and Corey should have both been killing. I mean, they kind of did, but could have diverted everyone's attention and caused further chaos. Also would have loved it if Michael grabbed Lori and pulled her into the car shredder. Could you imagine the just utter jaw drop of Haddonfield seeing that happen? Because she was alone in there.
That is true. That's a good point. I like that. I think that's the first comment I've seen like that. Sean, we've talked about another ending as well when we went through another ending that was. I enjoyed that ending. I don't know if you want to touch on that one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's two other ones. So message me in the private chat which one, because I'm trying to save one for our Patreon show. But don't mind getting into it as long. I think it's basically this ending, but with a little bit of a different take.
Yes. Along those lines.
Yeah, so that ending I don't want to touch on in this stream. Right. Just because I have a feeling that we're not going to get that one on the physical media release. We'll save that one for Patreon and the next Lampkin Lane episode or the one after. But I'll say this. We see the mask on the table there at the end. There's a version of that shot where the mask is standing up, almost as if like it's on a mannequin head or something, and the sun shines through the window, and it almost looks like the eyes open, even though like it's just a mask. And I would have liked that one better. I've seen multiple people say that they can hear someone breathing at the end, and I don't have the movie in front of me, but I'll be most curious to pull it up, crank the volume, and listen to that last sequence when they go in from Hawkins and Lori there to the ending there. Also, I thought the way that Allison's role in this abruptly ended was not good enough for that character. And was Lindsay at the junkyard at all? I don't recall seeing her.
I don't remember.
Did anybody? Oh, let's ask the chat. Did anybody remember? Does anybody remember seeing Lindsay at the scrapyard? Isaiah says, I would want to know David Gordon Green's first instinct for Ends. Well, the first instinct was Halloween Ends was still, supposed to take place on the same night / morning of Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. Which,
do you think you would?
I would have rathered that.
Do you think you would have got the Corey aspect?
No, Corey aspect was not in this film the entire time.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I would go that route too.
I think I might have just killed Nick's next question. What direction were they going with Ends prior to COVID, with all 3 movies being on the same night? Well, originally in Halloween Kills, Allison just sort of disappears at the end of that night, and we don't know what happens to her. So I would have assumed it would have been people from the hospital. Laurie Hawkins wouldn't have been in any shape to do it, but Laurie and company going to look for Allison and running into more Michael issues that night, which probably would have been a more, Michael intimate film. Mike, I know you got to get out of here. I'm going to continue to stay on here for a little bit and hang out with the audience for a bit. Any final thoughts on this film? And don't forget that you can check our upcoming Overlook Drive-In show out on the channel. It's airing this Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We are going to review and score Halloween 2 from 1981. So tune in for that. And at the beginning, the first half an hour or so, when we've had a chance to digest Halloween Ends a little bit more, we will be diving into that as well. Mike, any final thoughts? And if you want to, by the way, see that, don't forget to click the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and you'll be able to keep up with all the content we got coming. Final thoughts on this opening night, man?
Well, I enjoyed my theater experience. That was really, really good, and something I always appreciate with, going to the theaters, because, I know a lot of people get stuck with bad sound, or people in the audience that just talks, or is on their phone and all this other stuff. I luckily had a really good experience. The crowd was very interactive in a really good, positive way. Positives, just right off the top. Enjoyed the acting, enjoyed the sound, the cinematography, and that's where I'll kind of stop there for now. I walked out of the theater saying, "Damn, I don't know what I don't know." That's just all I could say, and I'm probably still on that. I will probably watch this movie again, probably over the weekend, and then I'll do my final grade as far as at home.
Yeah, same. They bought my IMAX money. I won't be giving them.
True. Yeah. So I'll watch it at home. I'll do my final letterbox grade, and then I'll go into Tuesday on the Overlook and kind of have my thoughts kind of final and stuff like that. And then on the Take One, when we do our panel, Sean, I'm interested to hear that as well. So why
don't you tell people about that panel you have coming up on your podcast, which is heavily Halloween Ends related?
Yeah, so if you don't know, for everybody tuning in, I do have a podcast, the Take One podcast, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We will be recording our spoiler action or reactions to Halloween Ends on Wednesday, and that will be released next Thursday. So it gives everybody a time to watch and kind of tune in on that. We got a really, really good panel that I'm really looking forward to. So it's gonna be interesting to see everybody's opinions outside of Sean's. I'm not asking for anybody else's opinion, so it'll be really, really good to see. I'm really looking forward to Sean. I think y'all are still doing a roundtable as far as the
we'll be back on with a few other guys from the channel either tomorrow night or Saturday night, and hopefully we get a nice turnout for that too. The chat's been amazing tonight. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So really looking forward to that. So a lot of Halloween content still, coming up. But yeah, man, I'm still in the I don't know phase, leading towards the negative phase for the way that they treated Michael in this film. So, again, I'll give my overall score on social media and the coming podcast. But again, I just want to say before I jump out of here, appreciate everybody that stayed up late with us, that are in the chat, send in super chats. We really appreciate it. Appreciate everybody being really, really, really respectful in the chat as well. That's always good to see. It's always good to have people voice their opinion, whether they hate it or really liked it, and being able to, be respectful and take all opinions in.
It's hard to do too, man, because like you had people coming out of this movie legitimately heartbroken, and then you had people coming out of this movie somewhere in the middle, and then you had people coming out of this movie, much fewer of them, but people being like, loving it. And it's easy to get worked up by someone else's opinion, but the chat's been, from what I can see, very respectful tonight, so it's appreciated.
Yeah, very much so. So, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Sean, appreciate you for having me, man. And I'm gonna go lay in bed and knock out. And yeah, appreciate everybody.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks.
There you go, Mike Bish of the Take One podcast. Big thanks for doing this tonight, man. It's greatly appreciated. This isn't actually a Lambkin Lane. I just don't have a solo graphic ready, so you get the Lambkin Lane graphic. I'm going to stay on for, we'll see how much more active the chat gets or stays. I want to get to some normal questions too, just not just super chats, but super chats are open. And again, you can check us out on Patreon if you want to support the channel another way. Click the thumbs up button, helps other people find it after the fact. Let's keep going here, though. I got a good 20 minutes left in me, maybe a little longer. We'll see what happens. Chad says Michael should have been on that romantic bike ride with Corey instead of Allison after that tag team. That guy in this after they tag team that guy in the sewer, but I'm sure that will become a meme. Absolutely, it reminds me of a scene in Supernatural. So. Keep going through these here. I want to make sure everybody's gets read. Zeno says Ends was far from a perfect movie. I really like the bold move with the definitive killing of Michael. They screwed over JLC and H2O, regardless of how everyone feels. This is her redemption. I guess the boogeyman can really die. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people wanted that. I'm not one of them. But they did, screw over Jamie Lee Curtis to an extent. They didn't tell her about a clause in the contract before she signed on. Toronto Freddy says, I am definitely not paying to see this. I don't blame you, bro. What else do we have here? Yo. Worst plot for a trilogy ending almost ever. Pacing was too fast. They panned away every kill almost. Maybe a director's cut down the road. Well, this is the director's cut. If you're going to get another cut, it would be a producer's cut, I would think. So David Gordon Green very much got his way in what he wanted. So I don't know if that makes you excited as an Exorcist fan or if it makes you hella worried. You would have to be the one that decides that. Intel Wild says, haven't seen it yet, but sounds like all we needed was Busta Rhymes saying, trick or treat, motherfucker. Yeah. Might have been better than certain choices made. Chris says, crazy Halloween with only 5 minutes of Myers. Deathbat says, I'm one of the people that enjoyed the movie. However, seeing Corey wrestle Michael for the mask in the sewer had me dying. Yeah, I wonder if they could have shot that a little differently and a little better, and I think it might have resonated better with certain audiences anyways. I don't disagree with your point at all. And again, I don't hate the movie. I hate some of the creative choices they make in this movie. Rightfully so, I think. But it is what it is. James says, best in the trilogy. In terms of how a movie is made, if I take away the fact that it's a Halloween movie and just look at each of these as movies, this probably is the best made movie in the trilogy. I wouldn't disagree with that. I had a feeling coming out of this movie, I would think it's a very well made movie. and unsure of how I would feel about it as a Halloween movie. I'm still kind of unsure. I hate the choices with Michael. But in terms of how this movie's made, sound design, score, cinematography, acting, um, I've seen the writing. The writing is good. Although the writing was good with Halloween Kills as well. The performances on screen, less than so. But I think James has a valid point. James also has a great channel. I don't know if him and Matt are still doing a show or not. I haven't been able to watch hardly any content creators the last several months. But James also a hell of a mask maker. That dude is one heck of an artist. Check him out. Matt says, too positive. Actually looked like late October and liked hearing Don't Fear the Reaper at the end. I wanted them to play that song for the credits. I would have played Don't Fear the Reaper during the credits and Mr. Sandman at the end. I was disappointed that they did not go with Mr. Sandman. Although that's me longing for some nostalgia. Eddie says, as I saw film, I thought a nice twist would be for Allison to really be evil and to use Corey to do her bidding, or do a natural born killer's angle. That's an interesting take. I'm sure audiences thought as Allison comes in and sees Corey and Laurie standing over Corey, that there was a chance we were going to get Allison versus Laurie. How, you want to talk about divisive, how insane would it have been if Allison killed Laurie in that moment? Boy, I wonder what the takes would be for that one. Gotta Be a Legend says Michael was crippled. Yeah, and yet found a way to get up and kill an entire mob, and then somehow, isn't able to do so in this one. Intel Wild says Michael had long COVID. That's why he was weak. Matt says, think we'll get a director's cut. Could help us. No, Matt, I think this is your director's cut. Again, I think if you get a cut from someone else, it'd be a producer's cut. And I could be wrong. I think David Gordon Green has to sign off on that. Let's see. What else do we have here? I'm so far behind in the chat. It's ridiculous. Apologies, everybody. All right. Looks like if I missed a super chat, please let me know. If I didn't, then great. Gonna start getting to some of the more recent chat questions and comments and see what you guys are saying. Let's see. William says, ends completely blew my expectations out of the water. Well, if you went in with reasonable expectations and you ended up loving it, that's fantastic, man. I'm so incredibly thrilled for you. Ridge says, Nick Castle was the old guy in that bar that ran into Corey. Yes, he was. That was definitely something. D says, there is no breathing at the end. Yeah, like I said, I only seen it once, so I wouldn't know, but I've seen people saying that in the chat. Could be people being hopeful, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter if there's breathing. I'm telling you now, Blumhouse is not making another one of these. There will be another Halloween film. At the world premiere, we had a certain actress basically reveal that talks are ongoing. That was also revealed a couple weeks ago. I think Lee McCoy Drum Dums also came out with it pretty early too. So talks are ongoing for sure, early stages, but don't be surprised if you see another movie in 2 or 3 years. They won't be the scale of these movies, obviously. But just because a movie's not, on a grand scale doesn't mean that it can't be a good movie. Look at Hush. Look at Mike Flanagan's Hush on Netflix. Great movie. Nope, no Lindsay at the junkyard. Yeah, I didn't think I seen her. James says, I was disappointed hearing that they weren't going the original route with all of it being on one night, but he digs the way they ended this one. Well, I wish I could agree with you, man. I'm glad you liked it, though. Many Styles Records says, worst Halloween movie ever. If you don't believe that, you don't know Halloween. Well, that's subjective, Many. A movie that someone shits on might be someone else's treasure. That's just the way fandom works. Man, not because of this stream tonight. Was already depressed for ends. It is what it is. Intel, you could go into it and end up liking it, man. Like I said, I left that movie theater going, you know what? this is a pretty fucking good movie. And then I had a chance to think about it and going, yeah, it's a well-made movie, but I don't like it as a Halloween movie. I don't even like it as a movie in this trilogy. And I think that's saying something. And again, I went in with super low expectations. Intel, while it says love story, what the fuck? There is definitely elements of that, Intel, no doubt about it. What do we have here? Let's throw that up. Click that like button, people. Helps everybody find the stream. I'm going to keep talking here, but I'm going to keep this on screen for a few minutes. David Corden Green is going to butcher The Exorcist next. I hope not. But I understand why people wouldn't have confidence in him. Greg says the final battle was everything it was cracked up to be. I wish I could agree with you, Greg. I'm glad that you liked it, but for me, it wasn't. It was about 2 minutes long, unless you're counting, them slitting his wrists and then the neck and the funeral procession and the junkyard. If you count all that as part of it, I could see that. But if I'm talking just the battle, I didn't think it was that good at all. It's 2 minutes. Literally just in a kitchen. They don't go anywhere else. It's lacking suspense big time. And it didn't really hit for me, if I'm being honest. Speaking of Zach Arnold, the man that we referenced a little earlier in this show, he's my dude who said that he thought that it might have actually been his wife, newlyweds, by the way, congratulations again, that said this feels more like a drama than a horror movie. And as I've had time to sit here and contemplate that, there are definitely horror elements in this movie, but I think he's right when he says it's more like a drama than a horror movie. I would have to agree with that. Which might really piss people off, which is not our intent. Again, this is all subjective, everyone. Dream says this is his second heartbreak in life. I'm sorry, man. I had. Let me put it this way: we cover spoilers on this channel to an extent, whether it's here or over on our Patreon. But we try to do it in a respectful manner. And when we already had an idea what way this movie was going before it was even shot. And then once it was like during the shooting, we were getting reports. And then after it was shot, about 2 months before the test screening, or a month before the main test screening, pardon me. Once we got certain things confirmed, it made it really hard to go forward doing content because it's like, well, are they actually going to be upfront with some of this stuff in the marketing? And the truth was they were not. The marketing is incredibly misleading for this film. And it made it hard to do content because I'm someone who believes you should not spoil someone who doesn't want to be spoiled. Plain and simple. If someone doesn't want to know spoilers, do not ruin that experience for them. Not everybody likes spoilers. Some people hate spoilers. Some people love spoilers. It just, it really depends. Intel Wild says, peace, Bish. Greg says they had the guts to say something more than bad guy has a knife. I'll definitely agree with that, man. The commentary in this film of how, someone's trauma or experience in life, someone who gets a bad go of it for a while, how that can twist you and take over your life and turn you into something that you're really not. They do a wonderful job with that in this movie, Greg. If there's anything I can definitely say, it's that. And I do think, let me go back to that. I do think, in a way, you can sort of project that onto Michael and assume that he went through something similar at a much younger age. I do think that's the message they're trying to convey. How did the light bulb lady survive? David Gordon Green really likes her, is what I would say. I don't know, man. You would think that, I mean, again, barring a miraculous turn of events here, insane box office success, which is not expected to happen. I would say that it was more believable that Corey could survive than hers. But some people might argue that too. Again, it's all subjective, really. Anthony wanted to see Michael and Laurie die by each other's hands. I would have liked that too. I tend to agree. Do I think Blumhouse was going to do another movie that Corey would have survived even if Michael did die? I think at one point Blumhouse wanted to do more. I think Jason Blum made, no secrets, kept no secrets about that. He definitely wanted to do more. I just think we got to a point where Malek Akkad was fed up with the creative decisions and was out. Like, point to me the last Halloween movie that doesn't have Malek Akkad at the premiere and posing and all over press. This guy loves being in front of the camera. There's a very specific reason he's not there, and it's not because he had a cold. The Halloween movie collector. Mustafa Akkad is rolling in his grave. Michael was never supposed to die. I think I would argue Michael's probably died a couple of times on screen before. But this one just felt like too much to me. I'm with you on that one. Ends will never grow, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I don't see it growing for me. But I wouldn't say never. I'm someone who hated The Last Jedi when it came out. And I certainly don't love the movie even today, but I don't hate it like I did when it first came out. If David Gordon Green gets the rights to Jason, I'm rioting. Well, I'll give you a little sneak peek on content that we're going to be having on this channel in just a couple of months' time. Not only do you not need to worry about that, I can flat out tell you he didn't. They made him so weak in this movie. Yeah, I think my biggest problem with that is look at everything he does at the end of Kills. It doesn't make sense, like, at all. Chad says, I saw Kills 3 times on the big screen. Ends is one and done for me. I saw Kills twice on the big screen and then twice more shortly after at home. I will probably watch it once more at home, and that'll be it for a while. Just let Halloween die now. I can tell you this. Halloween is not dying. The franchise is not going anywhere. Look at how many, Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies we've gotten. Look how many different interpretations of Chucky we've gotten. And just recently, too. So Halloween's not going anywhere. And the truth is we're probably going to see a movie before more people want it. Corey is a poor man's James Franco. My God, Zach. Oh, dude. Greg says it's literally the plot. Michael is weaker and closer to death. Well, no, that's not the plot of the movie at all, really. But that's a fact in the movie for sure. But it still doesn't add up with what we see at the end of Halloween Kills. It simply does not. But hey, is what it is. And he also went on to say he spent 4 years in a gutter eating rats and homeless guys. I don't know. Some of those homeless guys, let me tell you. Have you had shitty McDonald's before? Homeless guy might be better. Dream says I need to go to the hospital. Oh, I don't know if you're joking right now. If you're okay, man. I sincerely hope everything's okay. Also, everybody click the like button. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to do this for about 5 more minutes. So if you have any other questions or comments or anything you want to do, Get them in now. Might extend it to 10, but I do got to get out of here. I have work in the morning, so I mean it already is morning. I'm going to be basically taking a 2.5 hour power nap. Let's see what else we have here. And what happened to that whole screaming scene, Jamie Lee Curtis? A lot of it was cut, man. They cut a lot in this. Greg says it seems like Allison was close to going bad. Hawkins was wasted, says Byron. Depending on how many deleted scenes they put out there, buddy, Hawkins had a lot of his shit cut from this film. So I hope we see more of that. Hey, Kate's in the chat. What's going on, Kate? By the way, how was AEW? Hopefully AEW was good. What else do we have here? Jeremy Cochran says, I literally LOL'd at Michael convulsing and hulking. Hulking up is he quite literally was hulking up, which is fitting considering some of the behind the scenes drama on the set. If you're a wrestling fan, you might get that reference. Byron says Hush is a great horror movie. I agree, man. Totally agree. Pumpkin Man says, I like how the opening title cards were basically Halloween 3. They were. It was Halloween 3. And, I love Halloween 3. It's why we opened, if you're just joining now, we opened with this. We opened with that. So, I dig Halloween 3. This was just probably the worst time to do Halloween 3. He says, Sean, have a good night, brother. Been here since the beginning, but I got to get some sleep before work. Me too, dude. Me too. We got more the next couple of weeks is going to be heavy Halloween stuff. And for the Overlook Drive-In on Tuesday nights, I think Mike and I have decided we're going to do Halloween movies all the way through the end of November before moving away from the franchise and doing some other horror stuff. You guys are trashing this, but overlook what the Thorn timeline did to Michael Myers. Halloween 5 is a fucking dumpster fire, man. You're not going to get me, saying, that Halloween 5 isn't a dumpster fire, because it is. And I can tell you right now, even after watching this movie is better than Halloween 5. I'm not shitting on the movie. I think it's a very well-made movie. The score is fantastic. Cinematography is great. The action in it is fairly good. The acting, I don't know if there's better acting in a Halloween movie than this one. It's the creative decisions that are made and the complete lack of respect or the complete disrespect towards Michael Myers where Mike and I had a big issue with. Hannestown says 4 to 5 stars, ending too short and unceremoniously. Not much future for Laurie and Frank and Allison. Mikey definitely not coming back in this timeline unless this timeline's toast. It's done. It's over. There will not be another movie in this timeline. Malaka Cat is going to see to that. So, Catherine says, thanks for a great review, dude. The movie sucked, but your content's always spot on. Early day tomorrow. So I'm out. Take care. I hope it's great. And it's greatly appreciated. Thank you. My toilet dies tonight. Yeah, I've been there. Wow. Absolutely been there. Don't worry, everybody. It was just a dream. Halloween 2024. Michael's back for revenge. Wayne Gaki says, so what you want about Mustafa Akkad, but say what you want, pardon me, about Mustafa Akkad, but he wouldn't have allowed half this shit that Malek Akkad has in 12 years. The apple fell far from the tree here. Wayne, I can tell you right now that Malek was not on board with the decisions made in this movie, but at the end of the day, he's got to own some of it. I agree. This review is easing my pain. Oh, dude, we're in this together, man. And again, regardless of whose channel you watch, I'm sure there's a bunch of big channels out there. You got Dave McRae, Drum Dums. Cody Leach does his stuff. The Slaughterland movie podcast. There's a bunch of good quality content out there. But if you're just tuning into this channel for the first time and you love this franchise, just know that our content on Halloween will continue. It will be a weekly thing for years to come where we're discussing various Halloween topics and providing you updates on future Halloween content coming up from the franchise, which, again, as I said off the top, the belief is there's already talks about the next movie, and it won't be with Blumhouse or in this timeline. James says, I'm surprised they didn't explain the staring out the sister's window. They made a huge deal of it in Kills. They made a huge deal of a lot of things in Kills and then just decided to ignore a lot of it. Let's see. What else do we have here? Halloween died tonight. Instead of Evil dies tonight, Halloween died tonight. Jake D says, it's real fucking simple. These guys just shouldn't be making Halloween movies, period. I can't wait to start fire up H4 or H6. Well, if you've been paying attention to Danielle Harris lately, there's some movement on that front. Whether something comes of it or not remains to be seen, but there's absolutely movement and discussion going on that front. Why did you shit on McDonald's? I love that place. I love it too when I'm fucking stoned out of my mind. What else do we got here? Nerd Report. At the end of Kills, they said Michael Myers can't be killed by weapons. Here they stab him to death. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You missed the end scene with CM Punk. Was he in it? We still haven't been able to confirm that one way or another. I know there was rumors. Again, there's like 30 minutes of deleted scenes, if not more. I don't think you're going to get CM Punk to do an interview on anything right now, though. So if he was in it, it wasn't super noticeable. But, that wouldn't be surprising either. It was really good. I'll message you, though, instead of hijacking the show. How dare you hijack the show? No, feel free. It's all good. Isaiah says, was there a hiding sequence in that last act before? There was a lot. There's a lot of kills missing from this movie. I wish I could sit here and say that a bunch of them are Michael Myers, but the truth is there's a bunch of Corey kills missing from this movie. Although there is one Michael Myers kill missing from this movie that doesn't even take place in this year. So, Real Reveal says that was the ending that Laurie needed. If you say so. If it worked for you, that's all that matters. I'm watching it tomorrow, early Saturday. Intel has already decided to. He doesn't know when he's going to watch it. So, Dr. Stinky says it was okay. Look at that. Real and Intel having a reunion in here. Great stuff, fellas. Great stuff. Love to see it. Byron says he would rather Mike Flanagan make Halloween Ends 2022 than watch the ending to this film. I hope we get to see Mike Flanagan make a Halloween film, period, at some point. I think it'd be fantastic. I think it would be a lot of fun. I would really, really dig it. All right, guys, 3 minutes to go, and then we're getting the hell out of here. I'll stay on for 3 more minutes. Final questions now. They don't have to be super chats. They can just be normal chats. We'll go through them. But we're on the clock. Final 3 minutes begins now. William's going to give it an 8 out of 10. Michael is in this movie like 5 times. I think he means 5 minutes, but yeah, he'd be right. Dreammaster says, I'm happy we all came together. We need to stick together and stay strong at a time like this. Let's just pray for the new Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. I think Friday's closer than Nightmare. Friday is going to have some stuff coming out about it very soon. I think some people got ahead of themselves and started saying stuff before they were supposed to say stuff. But there's movement on Friday finally, and I'm sure, like, I'm thrilled for fans of that franchise, and that's not to knock the Never Hike Alone movies or Never Hike in the Snow movies or My Special Boy or any of the other great ones that are out there because they are fantastically done fan films. But at the end of the day, people want to see something official from the franchise, and you're going to get a chance to see that. And it sounds like soon. And people should probably remember there's a Friday the 13th next year in October. Although I wonder if that's too quick of a turnaround. I tend to think it might be, but you never know with these things. Ira says, hopefully the new Hellraiser will be good. I haven't seen it yet, but I would like it. Dr. Stinky asks, how did I like it? As a movie, I think it's a very well put together movie. I think one of our colleagues at the channel here, Zach, said it best. It probably feels more like a drama than a horror movie at times. Some people might like that. Some people might not. You know, it is what it is. Remember Halloween 3? I kind of felt the same with this. I love Halloween 3. Halloween 3 is also a standalone movie. This was not. Oh, God. Byron, that's heavy-handed. Out of these two directors, David Bruckner or Scott Derrickson, who can make a better Halloween trilogy compared to what we got? I know some of Derrickson's work, so I'd go with Derrickson. But if it was my pick, I'm going with Mike Flanagan. But instead of setting up for 3 movies, just do one. Do a movie. More comes of it, great. I was listening to someone say today that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride only wanted to do one movie. And then the first movie made so much money, so they went back and did the other 2. And that's revisionist history. The truth is, when they went in to pitch the movie, not only did they want to kill Loomis at the end of 2018, they pitched doing 2 movies, and they were talked down to doing 1, and then more came of it afterwards. Pumpkin Man Forever says, Ends will definitely have a cult following someday. I have no doubt of that. Father Geese Goose, that's an interesting name. 1 out of 10, awful movie, basically no Michael, and the Corey character is stupid. I agree with the first half of your statement. I actually thought the Corey character was executed super well. I thought the performance by Rohan Campbell as Corey was arguably one of, if not the best in a Halloween movie, but that does not mean it should have been there, and it does not mean it made any sense. How Laurie says in Kills that Michael's not just a man, but right before she kills him, she says he's just a man. Right? I get it. I'd love to see a new Friday next October, says Entertainment Wizard. Hopefully you're having a great night, man. It was a remake of Carpenter's classic Christine. Yeah, at the most inappropriate time for it, in my opinion. Zach says, I just finished it, Sean. It was everything I hoped it would be, and I kind of needed it to be. If you love it, great. Again, I think it's a very well-made movie. But as a Halloween movie, I just can't get behind it. And the disingenuous marketing and the just complete mishandling of Michael Myers is hard to get over. Could you continue Allison's story, or is this the last time we will see her character? Unless another studio wanted to continue this specific story, it is more than likely the last time you will see her in a Halloween movie. Jonathan says the Corey Cunningham subplot would have worked better as a series than a movie. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. I agree with that, 110%. Let's see. Why is the last shot we see Michael's mask, then it cuts to black? The interesting thing is there's a different version of that shot where instead of the mask just sort of laying there flopped, it's standing upright on the desk. The sun shines through the window, and it almost looks like beams are coming through the eyes, almost like the shape is awakening, even though there's no body. A lot of stuff done in the editing room. Lots of choices that I don't necessarily understand, but one of them is that there's not going to be another Blumhouse Halloween movie. There'll be more Halloween movies, but not from Blumhouse. Carter says, slap in the face to Halloween fans. I 110% understand why you would feel that way. I get it. Halloween, the new beginning. I mean, Friday the 13th. Give you horns for that one. What were the Lost Boy references? I saw it was compared to that. Maybe I need to actually watch it. That would make two of us. I haven't watched that movie in 20 years, man. So wrong guy. Thanks for being real, Sean. Not all Halloween tubers. Let me reread this, Keith. Thanks for being real, Sean. Not all are in the Halloween YouTubers land. Look, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's great. I know that the way we do our content at the channel rubs some of those other content creators the wrong way. And like I've had people just outright not want to do things with us anymore because of some of our coverage. But I've tried to be as real as we possibly can. Some people don't like that. That's on them. That's the way I see it. You choose who you watch. You choose who you spend your time on. And if you're financially supporting them, you choose that too. Wayne says, looking forward to a Danielle Harris grand return. It's certainly sounding very plausible. Different ending in theater? No, it is not. It is not. Thanos 420 says, I'm big mad Miguel. Jonathan's okay, but Don't Fear the Reaper song is getting overplayed in every horror movie. Is it? I'm not saying that to be a dick. Like I don't know. I had no idea. What else do we got here? James Jude Courtney wasn't good either. I'm not sure James Jude Courtney got a whole lot to do in this movie. Michael was so disrespected. I would agree with that. This is supposed to be a Halloween movie, right? Corey takes up all of the movie and Michael gets maybe 9 minutes of screen time. I would be shocked if it's 9 minutes. I think it's significantly lower than that. Why didn't they use the Lindsay Wallace character more in Ends? Well, 1 second. Try not to choke here. It's simple. She wasn't supposed to be in Halloween Ends. They wrote her in after the fact because of literally, David Gordon Green's on record of saying this publicly. They wrote her into the movie after her positive reception in Halloween Kills. Thanks, Sean. And fuck them if they can't take a joke. Yeah, I agree. No Loomis, no Myers house, dumb. I don't even think we've seen like a Loomis flashback when they were going back to the 78 footage. And the Myers house cameo is in the newspaper clipping on the wall. But yeah, no, they make it clear that it was demolished. Worth the years of your life for the 6-minute ending? I don't really know where you're going with that. You have to count the final battle. Well, the final battle really is only about 2 minutes long. Like if you're American and have access to it on Peacock right now, go watch. I'm not talking him just laying there when it's over. I'm talking to when she gets him up on there and he ain't going anywhere. From the start to there, it's about 2.5 minutes long. Keith says, James Jude Courtney, I'm sure, is pissed about this. JLC took over these scripts, especially this one. I don't know about him being pissed, but your second point is not far off. 18 says, kind of felt like a slap in the face to tease us in the trailer with Michael and show him for so little. I get the whole Corey psychotic break, but it happened in such little time and it felt forced. I don't know if the psychotic break felt forced, but I absolutely understand you being pissed with the studio and the disingenuous marketing. Anyone that's saying it's not disingenuous marketing, I don't know what marketing they were watching. Where did Corey get that jumpsuit? He's a mechanic. I'm sure he's got about 8 of them. Dave McRae's going to rip this apart tomorrow, and rightfully so. I don't know if Dave's seen it tomorrow or the next day. Haven't talked to Dave in a little bit. Knowing what he said about how Michael should and shouldn't be shown on screen, I would think that, he'd be picking this apart. And I'm sure if you watch his channel, you've heard him say that a bunch of times. But, maybe it'll hit differently with him and he'll like it. I don't really know. But if you go based off previous things he said on his channel, that's probably the likely route. Yeah, there was definitely huge amounts cut from this movie. Important ones too. Father says, I hate Kills, but I would watch it any day of the week over this monstrosity. Yeah, I think I would. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna do it for our spoiler review of Halloween Ends. 2 hours and 10 minutes in the books. It is 2:20 a.m. I need to go get high and go to bed. That's gonna do it for us. If you're new to the channel, please, for the love of God, it takes 2 seconds. Click the thumbs up button. We would greatly appreciate it. If you want to click subscribe, that's great too. Our Halloween content at the channel is not stopping, and it's not even stopping anytime soon. We got weekly Halloween content scheduled over the next year and then some. So that'd be appreciated. If you want to support the channel on another level, you can do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/Fandom Empire. If you're a fan of Supernatural, we have a Supernatural review up on the channel right now. The Winchesters episode 1 spoiler review up on the channel right now. We also have Andor episode 6 review on the channel, as well as a House of the Dragon episode 8 review on the channel. And this past week, we did a Inside Halloween H2O on the Overlook Drive-In, where we break the movie down and score it in each one of their specific technical categories. So yeah, that's all the content we got coming at the channel. Don't forget to check out Mike Bish's Take One podcast. Great stuff over there. He has a Halloween Ends roundtable coming up this week, which should be good. Lost my train of thought because I'm so fucking tired. Also, check out Jer, who's on the channel. He has the Dark Match Drive over on Facebook. And if you want to get access to, I think it's like 5 terabytes of wrestling content, reach out to that page and they will direct you in the right direction for that stuff. And I believe there's going to be some wrestling on the channel soon. We don't know how frequently it'll be, but soon. So be on the lookout for that stuff as well. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for coming out. It was a fun stream. 200 plus people at one point. Greatly enjoyed it. Greatly enjoyed your company. Your support on multiple levels was truly appreciated. More coverage on Halloween Ends to come. Thanks a bunch. Again, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, all that nonsense. And, despite him dying in this movie, don't forget the boogeyman is coming.